Welcome to the Cryptid Iceberg. Before I begin, a quick refresher on what that is. For those who don't know, a cryptid is any type of animal that science doesn't yet recognize as existing. An iceberg video imitates a real iceberg, where the farther you go down the iceberg, the darker and deeper you get. I'll be going over the appearance, behavior, and some of the theories surrounding these cryptids. The first layer of this iceberg covers very famous cryptids that most people have at least heard of, even if they aren't familiar with cryptids in general. For example, the first creature on this iceberg, Bigfoot. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is described as an ape-like furry creature native to North America. Sightings and legends about Bigfoot date back to the 6th century, where Native American carvings allegedly depict a family of Bigfoots. Many other tribes in both Canada and the United States have their own stories about Bigfoot, with the alternative name Sasquatch coming from the Halkomelem language. The name Bigfoot came from a set of large, human-like footprints discovered at a logging camp in the 1950s that were attributed to the hairy beast. Bigfoot is one of the most recognizable and frequently cited cryptids on the planet, with thousands of eyewitness reports, alleged videos and photographs of the creature, and supposed forensic evidence. Reports of Bigfoot detail a variety of behavior. Many claim Bigfoot communicate by throwing heavy rocks or logs to create noise, as well as hollering. Nests and markings constructed out of wood have also been attributed to Bigfoot. They are believed to be omnivores, and according to a retired Navy linguist by the name of Scott Nelson, possess their own language. Scott came to this conclusion after listening to the Sierra Sounds, alleged audio recordings of Sasquatch taken in the 1970s that I'll link below. Theories on what Bigfoot actually is range, but many believers theorize they could be surviving Gigantopithecus. Gigantopithecus was a Southeast Asian extinct species of ape that were estimated to grow up to 10 feet or 3 meters tall, though they do share some differences with reports of Bigfoot, as Gigantopithecus was not believed to walk upright and reportedly only lived in Southeast Asia. Other theories about the creature hypothesize it to be a Neanderthal or another yet undiscovered species of ape. The Yeti, also known as the abominable snowman or Métis, is another ape-like creature said to inhabit the Himalayan mountain range of India, China, Nepal, and Bhutan. Reports of the Yeti date back to the traditional beliefs of the Tibetan people, who believed in an ape-like hunter capable of carrying weapons. More modern reports came from Western expeditions by mountain climbers and naturalists on treks in the Himalayas. Many climbers claim to have seen the creature or found footprints of the Yeti. An alleged Yeti sculp was also found in a Nepalese monastery, though testing concluded that it was likely not from any kind of ape. Like Bigfoot, proponents of the Yeti's existence often believe it to be a descendant of the Gigantopithecus. Mermaids are half-human, half-fish creatures, mostly believed to be creations of folklore, with the power to bewitch sailors and either steal from them or drown them. Despite this, there have been many reported sightings of mermaids, even in the modern day. The most famous example of this comes from explorer Christopher Columbus, who reported an encounter with mermaids in 1493. According to his account, he was disappointed at their masculine features. His description led many to believe he actually saw manatees, which were historically confused with mermaids. In more modern times, however, reports of mermaids have come from across the globe, with recent sightings in Zimbabwe and Israel. The possibility of mermaids' existence remains highly controversial with scientists, with many claiming traditional depictions of mermaids would be unable to regulate their body heat due to the ocean's cool temperature. Another cryptid often thought to be simply folklore is the giant. Essentially, a giant is a larger variation of a normal human. The tallest human in recorded history, Robert Wadlow, stood at 8 feet and 11 inches tall, over a foot taller than even George Murison, the tallest NBA player ever. However, there are accounts and evidence of humans larger than this. A famous example of this is the giant of Castelnau. The giant is 3 pieces of bone discovered in France during the late 19th century. When examined, it appeared these bones belonged to a Bronze-aged human that stood at about 11.5 feet, or 3.5 meters tall. A further study determined that they seem to have grown in a way most human bones don't. More bones were found only a short distance away in 1894, with some skulls seemingly suggesting humans of a similar height. More forensic evidence of giants was allegedly found in 1911, when miners discovered bones allegedly from the Sai-Te-Ka tribe in Nevada. The Sai-Te-Ka tribe were a legend among local native tribes, who believed them to be a tribe of cannibals, though it should be mentioned that in native author Sarah Winnemucca's account of the tribe, they aren't mentioned to be giants. The bones found at the site seem to suggest that they came from giant humans, though some archaeologists believe the bones actually came from mammoths. Another type of giant cryptid often discussed are the Nephilim, biblical offsprings of humans and angels some interpret to be giants. Aliens refer to any life that doesn't originate from Earth. There have been many reported sightings of many types of aliens over time, which are too numerous to get into here. However, I will be covering some more specific examples of aliens that connect to cryptids further down the iceberg. The final cryptid on this tier is the legendary Loch Ness Monster. Also known as Nessie, the aquatic creature allegedly lives in Loch Ness, Scotland, a large freshwater lake. Reports on the monster vary, but in modern times it's commonly depicted as looking similar to a plesiosaur, an extinct prehistoric marine reptile. Nessie has been allegedly photographed and recorded numerous times throughout history, though many of these have been exposed as fakes. Advanced technology has been used to try and find evidence of the creature, with underwater sonar picking up some plesiosaur-type objects, but none that could be conclusively identified as the creature. The next layer consists of fairly famous cryptids. While they aren't as famous as Tier 1 cryptids, they are still pretty well known, even outside of cryptozoology. The Kraken is a large, squid-like monster whose size exceeds any known variation of giant squid. In medieval times, they were told to be able to sink an entire ship, either with the whirlpool they left in their wake while moving, or their powerful tentacles. Unlike the giant squid, however, some reports of the Kraken describe it sharing crab and octopus features. While some have hypothesized that the giant squid is responsible for the historic sightings of the Kraken, many reported sightings of the Kraken in medieval times don't match up with the appearance of the squid, making it unclear if the sightings of the Kraken were the giant squid or a new species entirely. Its sightings mostly occurred in the northern Atlantic Ocean. The Chupacabra, meaning goat sucker, got its name in 1995 after a series of attacks on farm animals. These attacks left the animal victims drained of blood, though with the rest of the body mostly intact. It's mostly been sighted around Central America, with reports first appearing in Puerto Rico and later spreading to Central and North America. Descriptions on the creature vary, though it's most commonly described as either a greenish reptile creature with spikes that stands about 3 feet, or 1 meter tall, or it's described as a strange, hairless dog, though in both depictions they still drink the blood of animals, usually using 2 or 3 fangs to drain the blood. The story of Mothman began on November 15, 1966, when a young couple in Point Pleasant, West Virginia reported that they had been tailed by what they described as a glowing-eyed man with 10-foot tall wings. Other sightings of Mothman began shortly after, with theories on the creature's origin ranging from it being a military experiment, a supernatural creature, and an alien from a UFO. Unfortunately, the sightings mostly ended after the tragedy of the Silver Bridge collapse in Point Pleasant, which claimed 46 victims. Due to most sightings of Mothman ending around this time, many proponents of Mothman being a supernatural entity claim that he was there to warn about the impending collapse of the bridge. Giant snakes refers to a variety of cryptids, all with one thing in common, being otherwise normal snakes, besides the fact that they are far larger than any type of snake we currently know of. Throughout history, people have encountered snakes far larger than what snakes are supposed to grow to. One famous case occurred in 1959, when Belgian soldier Remy van Leerde was flying above the Congo on a helicopter. Suddenly, he spotted a large snake, estimated at 40 to 50 feet long, laying on the ground. The snake was so long, in fact, that he ordered the pilot to fly away from fear of it rising up and attacking the helicopter, though not before this photograph was taken. This snake is almost twice the size of the longest python in the area, meaning this sighting, if real, is likely a type of new species. The Megalodon was a large species of shark that went extinct around 3.5 million years ago. It's considered one of the largest predators ever, and some estimates place its maximum length at 67 feet, or 20 meters long. Megalodon is a little different from the cryptids we've gone through so far, as we know it did exist, but since went extinct. However, there are some who believe that the Meg survived its alleged extinction. In 1875, British ship HMS Challenger found a pair of Megalodon teeth that were later tested to be around 20,000 years old, which would mean the species survived far longer than we thought. However, the accuracy of this test has been called into question multiple times. There have also been several sightings of giant sharks over the years attributed to the Megalodon, with a story where some fishermen refused to work due to fear of the shark. In an interview with the Mongolian Prime Minister in 1922, an American paleontologist discovered stories of the Olgoi Korkoi, which according to the minister was a worm about 2 feet in length whose mere touch meant instant death. It was also said to possess an extremely corrosive acid. The creature, commonly known as the Mongolian death worm, is believed to live in the Gobi Desert, one of the largest in the world. Though many expeditions have been led into the desert to try and locate the worm, no conclusive evidence has been raised of the species' existence. Since the 1950s, sightings of big cats such as panthers, leopards, and cougars have occurred in Britain, despite no known species of that animal being native to the island. Over the years, several of these cats have been captured, but have mostly turned out to be escaped animals, though some theorize that these sightings are due to a yet undiscovered species of cat left over from the Ice Age. The most famous of these cases is the Beast of Bodmin Moor, which was an alleged big cat who committed a series of attacks on livestock in Cornwall, England. Like the Megalodon, we know the Thylacine at one point existed. Also known as the Tasmanian Devil, the marsupial was native to the islands of Tasmania, New Guinea, and Australia. However, due to a combination of dingoes and humans, the Thylacine was driven to extinction in most parts of the region. By the 1930s, all that was left of the species was a small population in Tasmania. In 1936, Benjamin, the last known Thylacine on the planet, died in a zoo, leaving the species extinct. However, since then, numerous sightings in southern Australia and Tasmania have been reported. Cameras have been set up across Australia to try and capture photos of a possible surviving Thylacine population, though no conclusive proof of the species' survival in the modern era has been uncovered. Thank you for watching. It took me a great deal of time to put this video together, and I highly appreciate the support. If you like this video, please share it with others you think may be interested, or check out my previous videos on cryptids. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below or on my social media accounts. This video covered the first 2 layers of what's intended to be a 10-layer iceberg, so any support you can give me, either here or on Patreon, will help me put together the next part sooner. Once again, thank you.